Do you feel this is a story of two extraordinarily lonely women?
As much as it's not common, it's not unfamiliar, these kind of relationships.
I feel like people who are that hidden from themselves perhaps create circumstances to expose themselves, to be caught.
One of the things I sort of wanted to do with the book was a kind of bait and switch, whereby a reader beginning the novel would think reasonably that it was a book about a woman having an affair with a younger boy, told by a slightly eccentric but essentially reliable older woman, and then at some point in the course of the book discover that it was a quite different sort of a novel, and that certainly its narrator is a good deal odder and less reliable than one thought at first.
Sometimes I found with books that they kind of run out of interest, but every time I read Zoe's novel, I was just still amazed and amused, and found that other things in it I hadn't seen were there. And I think she's just a wonderful writer.
The minute I knew he was doing it, I understood that it was going to be something much more interesting, which is somebody taking what I had written and making something new out of it.
I think Patrick has liberated the film into being from both women's perspective, but because the film is narrated by Barbara, it gets turned on its head in the end as Sheba catches up with the audience.
And I think in the film you feel, as I guess you infer from the novel, but it's more objectively portrayed in the film, is you feel this is a story of two extraordinarily lonely women.
She is a teacher at a very ordinary school in London, and she is basically a desperate, lonely, needy woman. She needs some attention, really. And she becomes obsessed by this other young teacher at the school.
Barbara's definitely a survivor and will do anything to survive and to sort of attach herself to another person's life.
She's got this aching, beating, vulnerable heart and has never really known love.
Her sort of loneliness and vulnerability, I hope, make her somewhat sympathetic.
You know, marriage and kids, I mean, it's wonderful, but it doesn't give you meaning. I mean, it gives you an imperative, but it doesn't help you. My father always used to say, you know, on the tube, mind the gap. I don't know, it's just the distance between life as you dream it and life as it is.
Sheba, who ostensibly is a woman surrounded with a family, who is extraordinarily, you discover, isolated within that family and very, very deeply unhappy, but unable to share her unhappiness with her family.
When you look at Sheba coming into that school, you know, at first she's very disparaging about it and says, you know, look at her, you know, all carefully looking disheveled and things like that. And then, of course, it becomes obsessive. She does stick out from all the others because she's a very different kettle of fish. And I think that's what Barbara becomes obsessed with.
I think Sheba's mistake is that she underestimates Barbara. She thinks that she's categorized her and has no idea of the depth of her despair.
You get the story of two obsessions. You get the story of Barbara's obsession with Sheba and Sheba's obsession with Stephen, the 15-year-old schoolboy.
Hello? I need to speak to you about Stephen Connolly.
Who?
Let's not, shall we?
Doubtless you're aware you've committed a criminal offence. I'll be with you at 5.
Inasmuch as it's not common, but it's not unfamiliar, these kind of relationships, and they are obviously controversial, and they are illegal, apart from anything else. And it's interesting how if the genders are turned around, if it's a man and a girl, it's a whole other thing. Whereas with a woman and a young boy, it's hard to know how to approach it sometimes.
Every schoolboy sort of has a crush on a few teachers, and every school there's a couple of good-looking teachers, except Stephen's slightly more prepared to take his flirting to another level. So once he gets any sort of response from Sheba, then he just grabs onto it for all he's worth.
You know, I've been good all my adult life. I've been a decent wife, dutiful mother, coping with Ben. This voice inside me kept saying, why shouldn't you be bad? You know, why shouldn't you transgress? I mean, you've earned the right.
And why does she have a relationship with a boy? It's immensely complicated. And I don't think she could synopsize the why. And the great thing, I think, about the film is it doesn't set out to answer those questions. I feel like people who are that hidden from themselves perhaps create circumstances to expose themselves, to be caught. Because in a strange way, maybe she perceives herself as being slightly a victim of circumstance as opposed to a creator of her own environment.
For me, the most important thing is that Kate, playing the role, feels that it's coherent and that she buys it. And I'm assuming because she's playing the part, she does buy it.
The casting of Judi Dench and Cate Blanchett has been particularly kind of gobsmacking. Sort of one assumes when they start making a movie of your work that they'll do something interesting and you hope they do something good in terms of casting, but you don't really think that these people are going to match up in any serious degree with the people you envisaged in your head when you were writing. And I have to say, Cate Blanchett, she's as near as damn it to the incarnation of what I had in my head.
I think Kate is extraordinarily thoughtful and well prepared. She has a tremendously deep knowledge of the script, of each scene. She's thought a lot about it. She contributes a great deal. There's an awful lot in the film that is little details and some big ideas that are generated by Kate.
She is a phenomenal actress, and she was phenomenal to work with. When I saw the film on Sunday, I thought, how on earth has she so minutely made that level of intensity, or I was absolutely blown away by it.
She's tough in the performance and tough on the character, and I think it's really powerful.
We have a big fight, and that was scene 122. We had that underlined in kind of marker pens.
We're not friends. You don't even like me.
That's not true. I only have tender feelings for you. Only love. No. And then gradually the day came, and we did the scene. It took all day, and we were both dreading it, absolutely dreading it. And then at the end, we came off the stage, and there was a great big bottle of champagne from Kate, which we immediately cracked open and drank most of it with relief.
It's a thrill, I think, to see Judi Dench playing a part in which she is malign. I mean, she's still desperately vulnerable and accessible, but this is not a nice woman that she's playing. And I think from an audience's point of view, it's refreshing.
Having Judi play a character like Barbara, who is at first, I think, very unlikable, because Judi has a natural warmth and a jollity about her. There's always a glint in her eye. I think you do forgive her a lot of things, or at least understand them, because otherwise she could have simply been a witch.
And she has such ability to access her sadness, vulnerability, loneliness, and has no fear about showing us that vulnerability.
I don't think it's something that she's often asked to deliver, but someone who is effectively evil certainly very, very manipulative and destructive.
And stay with me.
I would if I could. I'm desperately sorry about Bosher, but you can see I have to go.
Think very carefully, madam. Be aware of the consequences.
Barbara, please don't make this mean any more than it is.
Stay with me. I don't know what I'll do.
She just allows it to sink in and allows her instincts to determine where she's going. And as a director, you're just nudging her this way or that. And she's like a musician in that she goes into character sort of at the last possible moment. She doesn't brood around the set being Barbara Covert and doing Barbara Covert-like things. She's Judi Dench, who will be telling anecdotes up to the last moment of that the director calls for action. And then you can almost see it when you watch the film. You can stop the frame and say, I see that frame, she's out of character. The next frame, she's in character. And then she becomes Barbara Covert. And then you get to the end and you say, cut, and you see her becoming Judi Dench again.